Darlinghurst Police, Peter Manning here from This Day Tonight ABC Television. ABC Television, we'd like to inform you that we believe there's illegal gambling taking place at 155 Forbes Street, Sydney.
At where, sir?
155 Forbes Street, Sydney. Hello, did you get that?
Yes.
Okay, thanks very much.
Your name, sir?
My name is Peter Manning from This Day Tonight ABC Television.
Good evening. Tonight the topic is illegal gambling in Sydney, and as you heard, our reporter Peter Manning has just informed the police of one casino, the Forbes Club, that's operating in the inner city. That picture is coming to our studios live from one of our outside broadcast units at the club, and we'll be crossing there during the program for on-the-spot reports. The Forbes Club is one of at least 5 clubs that we know are operating in Sydney at present, and these are some of the others. From the outside, they're pretty nondescript, even tatty, but inside, it's a different story. Peter Manning and an artist investigated earlier this year.
TDT took along an artist into what is considered one of the posh casinos of Sydney. It's a sort of illegal version of South's Juniors. You have to know someone to find it, or be known to the rather severe man at the door to get in. He sports a red bow tie and opens a door that holds a see-through mirror and a thick chain. Once in, you need to get your chips for gambling at the tables inside. And as the money changes hands, you're watched by a house guard who looks like he's been in many difficult situations before and survived. What the club wants you to do is spend your money. To beat the system, you need a cool head and a good knowledge of the mathematical odds. At most of the illegal casinos, the roulette table is the centre of the action. The gambling is intense and the rules strictly applied by the croupiers at strategic points along the table. At the club TDT visited, some of the croupiers were Asian, probably with experience overseas. A dozen big gamblers sat around the roulette table playing with orange chips worth $50 and even blue ones worth $100. Standing behind them were equally well-dressed casual gamblers, but this time throwing in chips worth $2. At this club, the food and drink is freely laid on by the management. But it's a tradition that the more you gamble, the better the food and the stiffer the drinks you'll get. For the casino regulars, service from the club girls is instant. The drinks order is given, the hand goes up, and automatically the whiskey and dry meets it. The gambler's eye never leaves the table. There are about 150 people this night at the club. There's craps, blackjack, and stud poker, with the big money is changing hands. Some of the club might spend as little as $10 tonight, but at this club, one man had a bank of $1,500. There's nothing secretive about all this. One gambler told us there was a police raid about 3 times a year. Bail was paid by the club for those caught and charged, and later that night it was business as usual. The latest police annual report shows that just over 5,000 people were arrested in New South Wales for illegal gambling last year. That's about a fortnight's worth of gamblers. The annual report records that they were charged an average of $4 each. The night TDT was there, we recognised at least 2 well-known TV personalities. The club's hardly a secret. So in Sydney, you've got a choice of 10 casinos, and all you face is perhaps a $4 fine and taxi fares to and from King's Cross.
There has, of course, been illegal gambling in Sydney ever since the arrival of the First Fleet, and such institutions as Tomo's Two-Up School are still operating. But let's ignore the two-up joints and the small stuff scattered throughout the inner city and just look at the Big Four, or as they now are, the Big Five. The biggest is the 33 Club, located upstairs at number 33, Oxford Street. That's the club TDT visited back in February. The premises are owned by Adelstein Investments, the family group, which owns the shop downstairs. The casino itself is in premises leased by Dominant Investments Limited. We haven't yet been able to find the names of the people behind that company. On the other side of King's Cross, at 155 Forbes Street, is the club we're watching tonight, the Forbes Club. This building is owned by Corwill Proprietary Limited, and there is no lease. Corwill is owned by Mr. and Mrs. E.O. Farrell of Elizabeth Bay, and one of the directors of that company until mid-1967 was Mrs. Beryl Galea of Coogee. Up in the Cross itself, at number 2 Kellett Street, is the casino known both as the Kellett Club and the Carlisle Club. This building is owned by the Fink family, very big property developers and investors. Mr. Leon Fink, whom I spoke to this afternoon, was unable to tell me the name of the lessee or the club's principals. The last big casino in the city, as far as we know, is the Goulburn Club at 51 Goulburn Street. The building is owned by Mr. George Zazinos Walker and Mr. Christos Paises, and there is no lessee of those clubs' premises. If you prefer your gambling out of town, there's the new and apparently unnamed club at Balmain. It's in Victoria Street, right near the junction with Darling Street. Inquiries at the Leichhardt Council today for the owners and lessees here proved nothing, and council officers seem to believe this building doesn't exist, which is symptomatic of the whole gambling scene in Sydney. If you're looking through the eyes of authority, none of these clubs exists.
Since the beginning of this program, our outside broadcast cameras have been focused on one of Sydney's gambling clubs, the Forbes Club in East Sydney. And you may be wondering what, if anything, has been going on there since we went on the air. We're wondering too. We'll cross now over for a live report from our men on the spot, Stuart Littlemore and Mike Carlton.
Well, it doesn't seem to have been one of the Forbes Club's better nights. Doesn't seem to be much in the way of clientele turning up to play. Stuart, what's happening?
Well, at the moment it appears that the vegetables are being delivered. You can see there's a greengrocer's truck down there. The food, of course, that is offered at these gambling places is pretty plush. So really, you know, when you say it doesn't look like a better night, it's only 8 o'clock. And really the gambling doesn't start for another 2 hours. I don't think we've really closed the Forbes Club down.
So in fact, what's been happening is a lot of people have marched up and down and taken a good look at us up here, knocked on the door. Some of them have been turned away, some of them have been able to get in. And we think we saw a police car.
Yes, we saw what we believe to be a police Ford Falcon drive past, a cursory look at the premises at 155 Forbes Street, and then they drove on. The only real attention this positioning seems to have attracted is from the newspapers.
There is a car down there which looks like it's from one of the daily papers, probably been watching the program tonight. The police car drove very slowly past, stopped on the corner. It didn't look anything exactly like a raid of the whole of 21 Division and the Vice Squad.
The point is that it's all going to start, as I was saying before, Mike, in about 2 hours. And the gambling there at the Forbes Club takes place on 3 levels. I've been in there, and on the ground floor you find a lot of seamen walk up the hill from Woolloomooloo, where their ships are docked, and they go in for such games as Crown and Anchor and a lot of other games, roulette for 2 bob, the sort of games that you'll see all over the world where people like that play. As you go up, the class goes up. On the centre floor is the big roulette wheel and a blackjack table and a bar, and on the top floor, the top of the 3 floors we can see, is the smallest gaming area. There's a lot of rather obscure, to me, card games going on, but a lot of spirits being drunk and a lot of food being eaten, and that's about the stage we're at now. Really, nothing's started yet. I don't think we've stopped anything.
There aren't really any lights out the front. It seems to be mostly lights on in a kitchen out the back. Quite a lot of lights out the back, in fact, but nothing much in the front. It may be a bit early. You may have time to get there yet.
Anyway, for now, back to you, Bill.